Oh, welcome back, everybody, to the Life and Times of Crazy Patrick. Time flies when you're having fun. This is my day. I have to go home. I have to leave here. If it was up to me, I'd stay another 7 days, but my work schedule just won't allow it. But I want to finish up for you the part 3 of the Chato's treasure. Back in the about mid-80s, I was in the mobile home business here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I worked with this guy. His name's Dave, and we became really good friends. We were into the same things. He likes to gold prospect, likes to treasure hunt, and so we hit it off that way. We was out gold prospecting all the time, looking for placer gold. And one day I was sitting in the office, and I was kind of bored, and I was thinking about the story about El Chato's treasure. And I remembered that Arthur, who was with Ben, I was telling you about last night, that he ended up being a college professor at the University of Colorado in Boulder. So this is before computers, cell phones. So I wasn't doing anything, sitting in my office, and I decided I'd call information and just see if there was if this Arthur so-and-so happened to have a phone number in Boulder. So I called information, and lo and behold, there was a phone number for Arthur. So I thought, what the heck, I'm going to call. Worst thing can happen is whoever answers will hang up on me. So I called the number. A gentleman answered the phone. I said, "Are you Arthur so-and-so?" He said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Are you the Arthur that was involved with Ben and had been checking out El Chato's treasure in the Doñana Mountains?" He said, "No, that was my father, and he's deceased." And so I told him I was sorry and offered my condolences, and asked him if he wouldn't mind answering a quick question or two. He said, "No, go ahead." And so I asked him, I said, "Did you ever have an opportunity to meet Ben?" And he told me that his father had taken him up to Magdalena to Ben's cabin, and he had met Ben when he was a young boy. And I said, "To the best of your knowledge, do you know if Ben ever came back to the Doñanas and finished what he had started?" And he said, as far as he knew, he never had, but nobody really knew for sure. So I relayed all this stuff to my friend Dave. I said, "Dave, we're going to have to go out in the Doñanas. We're going to have to look for this and see if we can find it." So we planned a weekend. We went out and we started hunting, and we made several trips, and we were hitting blanks every turn. And one day we was out searching, and we looked up on this rock up on the side of a small hill, and chiseled in this rock was an image of the Virgin of Guadalupe, and it wasn't. You didn't have to use your imagination to see it. It was plain as day. So we got up there to investigate, and here's this hole that goes down in the ground over a man's height, and you can see down in there. There's a cave that's going down in the ground there. So we get down in there. We weren't equipped. We didn't have any equipment with us. We had a couple cheap flashlights. So, but we're excited. But Dave he says, I'm not going in there. And I said, well, I guess I'll have to. So I took this little cheap flashlight I had, and light wasn't very bright on it, and I started off down in that tunnel. It wasn't very big. You had to hunch over to get down in there. And I kept going, and my eyes were trying to adjust to the dark and the bad lighting that I had, and I was taking it pretty easy because I was worried, going down in something like that. And I get down in there quite a ways, and it's pretty dark down. I can't see very far with my flashlight, and it's dark down in there. And pretty soon I think I see eyes shining back, and I'm going, what is that? And my eyes are still trying to adjust to the conditions in the cave, and pretty soon it dawns on me. It's a cat standing sideways and staring right at me, and it's a bobcat. And I think, oh no. So I turned around and I hurried up out of there as fast as I could go. I didn't know if that cat was right on my rear end or clawing at my rear, and I shot up out of there, and Dave looked at me. I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost. He said, what's going on? What happened? And I said, you're not going to believe this, but there's a bobcat down there. And apparently I scared the cat as bad as the cat scared me, and it must have went down, and I went up. So that was the end of that adventure that day. So we decided we'd go back another time, better equipped, better lights, and we took two-way radio with us. And so we went back there. Dave's he's not going down in there. He must be claustrophobic, because he was not going in there. So I took one of the radios, and I took my light, and I went down in there. And this time there was no cat, but I kept going. It kept getting tighter, and pretty soon I'm down on my belly and I'm crawling. But the cave never does split as far as I get, and it gets just so tight that I'm getting nervous, and I'm afraid I don't want to get stuck in there. So I went as far as I was comfortable. I was down in the ground a good long way. I bet at least 100, maybe 150 yards, and I just chickened out, and I came back up out of there. So Dave and I tried to figure out, well, what are we going to do, And I had another friend, his name's Rick, and he had done a lot of caving. I guess they call it spelunking, I'm not sure. But he had done a lot of caving, and he had a lot of equipment, and he was used to going in caves, and to him, the tighter the better. So I made arrangements with Rick to go out there, but the day that he had available to go, I wasn't available. So I made arrangements for my father, who was still alive at the time, Dave, and Rick to go back out there, and for Rick to go down in there and see what he could find. Well, he went all the way down in. He took a camera with him. He took pictures, and he went as far as he could go, plumb to the bottom. And the cave finally ended, and the cave never did split. Never had any forks, and there was nothing in the cave. And so we decided either the story was a bit wrong and somebody had already got the treasure, or we was in the wrong place. And so that's where the end of part 3 ends. Dave and I are still convinced that treasure is out there in the Doniana somewhere, and we never could find it. And thanks to President Obama, the Doniana Mountains and Organ Mountains are all now part of a national monument, and so you can't drive in there anymore. And if you got in there and you did find the treasure, you'd never be able to keep it. So I believe the treasure's still there. I believe it's still there, and I guess it'll be there for a long, long time. So with that, folks, I'm going to tell you, have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the flip-flop.